Hey guys, welcome to SkillLink. If you've been keeping track of the automobile industry or even the news in general, you would have heard a lot of chatter about electric vehicles. While the technology itself has been around for more than 50 years, it's only now that it seems to be maturing, and it's partly because we're running out of fossil fuels. But with electric vehicles being available to consumers today, we thought it would be a good idea to take a look at the technology and understand it better. And for that, we have Vatsal here with us, who is not only going to walk us through the technology, but also tell us why we should be charged up about electric vehicles. Can you tell us why is it that the entire industry is moving towards electric vehicles now?
So there have been a lot of opportunities and advantages for making a shift from classical engine technology to electric mobility. And we are going to discuss this step by step, where what are the performance related advantages and what are operational related advantages. So fundamentally, if you ask me the one reason, right, I will say electric vehicles are far efficient than IC engine based vehicles.
So when you say far more efficient, how efficient? How much more efficient are we talking about?
So you consider the electric vehicle to be consisting of two parts. One is the motor, one is the battery. And you see these two electric components, the efficiency ranges can be as high as 80%. And when you compare it to normal vehicle, which is IC engine based vehicles, the highest efficiency achieved so far wouldn't have been more than 35%.
Okay, let's put some numbers to that. Now, say my car gives me about 12 kilometers per liter, right? If I were to buy an electric vehicle tomorrow, what is the kind of efficiency I can look at?
Let me ask you a question in answer to this question. How much you are expending per kilometer in terms of your, can you give me a number in terms of rupees per kilometer?
Let's say it's about 7 rupees per kilometer.
Around 7, right?
Yeah.
So electric vehicles are, the operational cost of electric vehicles can be as low as 1 rupee per kilometer. So we are talking about 1/7 of what you are making expenses compared to an IC engine based vehicle.
How is it that electric vehicles are able to achieve this kind of efficiency? What's the trick behind this?
So the fundamental secret is it's electric. So you can do work with mechanical energy or thermal energy or hydraulics or pneumatic or any other form of energy. But electricity is fundamentally used because it's way more efficient. Now, in terms of electric vehicles, this electrical energy is available in battery as a energy storage element, and it is going to be used by electric motors. Now when you have electrical energy, you just need to convert from electrical to mechanical through a motor. So the number of energy conversions here you have are just one step or one stage. While in case of an IC engine vehicle, what you had is chemical energy stored in the fuel. Then you burn the fuel in the engine, you convert it into thermal energy and then thermal to mechanical. So chemical, thermal and mechanical, it will be two-stage conversion and hence less efficient.
Talking about batteries, can you tell us what are the kind of batteries which are used in EVs?
So electric vehicles are evaluating different types of batteries. Earlier it used to be the lead acid battery for low power category of vehicles. Nowadays it's lithium ion battery, and there have been variants of lithium ion batteries as well.
And what about the safety aspect of these batteries? Obviously these are all hazardous materials, right? What if I go and slam into a tree, or if I upturn my car? What are the chances of chemical leakages and what are the implications of such accidents?
So lithium ion batteries are we can say more dangerous than other chemistry of battery, but at the same time it comes up with more advantages. So nowadays it's possible to manage them so effectively such that we can control the temperature, we can control the current and voltages, which is going to avoid such a safety related issue. And obviously, in past, you might have heard of a lot of issues with the lithium-ion batteries. There have been cases where uh, caught the fire, but nowadays there are enough amount of efforts put by engineers in order to make them more safe. In an event of an accident, that is going to be a tough test, obviously. But even in that case, right, there are few technologies available which can help avoiding the lithium-ion batteries to catch the fire.
We've seen EVs being adopted in North America and Europe predominantly. Now, obviously, those are cold weather countries, but India is hot, it's sweaty, and the batteries also heat up a lot. Now, how are manufacturers managing this heat generated? How do they manage to keep the car cool and drivable?
Right. So there have been environmental challenges with reference to the electric powertrain components. Obviously, you need to maintain the motor temperature as well along with the battery. Battery being more critical in terms of safety. In terms of Indian context, the automakers and automotive vendors should look for a larger temperature range, because when you consider uh, temperature in one state and another state, right, and the temperature difference in within 24 hours, it's huge. So depending on the terrain, type of use, the environmental condition, the road condition, right? There are several factors which will not work similar to other countries. So India will have its own type of EV related challenges, but there are good amount of efforts being made in deploying EVs to India as well, and those challenges are getting overcome now.
How exactly are they trying to overcome this challenge? Can you give us one particular instance?
Sure. So let's say if you need to maintain the battery temperature, so usually the batteries, EV battery packs will have a cooling system which will maintain the temperature inside the battery pack. So no matter what's your ambient temperature, no matter how fast you are discharging or charging it, uh, it is possible to maintain the temperature of the battery to a safe limit.
Now, let's say I want to buy a car, right? For in a traditional car, I would look for certain engine characteristics like horsepower and torque and so on and so forth. But if I had to buy an electric vehicle, say, and I want the vehicle to be either sporty or I want it for city commutes. Now, what are the kind of characteristics that I should be looking for when I'm buying a car with specific needs in mind?
Yes. So this is a really interesting question, Srinath. When you try to compare uh, an IC engine vehicle with an electric vehicle, there are no such limitations. So people have this misconception of that electric vehicles are very less in power, and they are very low speed. Yes, initially it was like that because uh, we wanted to keep it kind of the cost below certain level. So I will frame this answer in with three categories. First is the acceleration you need. So how much is the best acceleration you need uh, from a vehicle? And what are your expectation in terms of range? Like how many kilometers you want to travel with your vehicle per charge? And if you want to get this both right to the high value, let's say you need a very high amount of acceleration as well as you are looking for a long range vehicle. So this type of vehicles which are high performance both in terms of range as well as acceleration are going to be really high cost.
So you mean to say that if money wasn't a factor, I'd be able to buy a car which is not just quick, fast, and also can go on forever?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's excellent. See, up till now we've seen the electrification of scooters and cars and rather medium vehicles. But what about uh, vehicles which carry thousands and thousands of tons? The ones which carry stones and so such heavy vehicles. Is it possible to electrify such vehicles, and is there any timeline for that?
So heavy vehicles electrification is actually um, involving lot of different level of dynamics. So when you are asking about a bus, its weight is more, number of passengers will be more, and probably you are looking for long range, right? In that case, you need to put in a huge amount of power and energy for your motor and the battery, and that is going to increase cost almost to 2 times than a normal vehicle which is available. So what I will say with the heavy vehicles electrification, yes, it is there, but those kind of projects will be better handled by the government, which can put in a lot of money, and they do not have an and they want to support electric mobility in this domain without worrying about return on investment.
Do you think it's possible that we reach a stage where the entire automobile industry is going to be completely electrified?
Yes, definitely. So initially, the electric mobility push in the coming 5 years is driven by subsidy or driven by government regulations, I will say. So if you have heard of BS6 standards, right? So there are a lot of changes in that, and automotive companies are looking forward to stringent emission standards, right? Now, there will be kind of similar government guidelines where we have to move to electric gradually, and initially government can help with a subsidy. But in longer run, what I believe is this is going to be driven by the customers. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the customers are going to have huge benefits in terms of operational cost, right? So that's what we discussed. So if you compare the rupees per kilometer for IC engine vehicle and an electric vehicle, there it's going to be 1/7 or 1/8, and that's the
Okay.
benefit.
Talking about customer acceptance, obviously before electric vehicles came along, there were the hybrid vehicles which came, and in India the acceptance wasn't that great. Is there any specific reason for that?
So yes, there are fundamental reasons. So what's the purpose of making a vehicle hybrid is to increase the mileage to certain extent. So that mileage extent can be around, let's say, 25% to 30%, right? So that your existing vehicle is IC engine based, you get around 20 kilometers per liter. Now, if you do the hybrid category of that vehicle, you will get around 25 to 30 percentage extra mileage if you have motor and the battery as a hybrid component of electric powertrain. Now, in case you are looking for pure electric, right, then the advantages are going to be way more higher than even hybrids, right? So IC engine will be again is going to be one of the category of the vehicle which will always be at a lower stage of operating efficiency. The hybrid comes in between, and the electric becomes at the top.
Obviously, the IC engine has been around for a long time, more than 100 years, and the ecosystem also has been thriving for such a long time. And there are a lot of people who know what they're doing, right? From the mechanic to the enthusiast who likes to fix their own cars. With the EV powertrain coming in, how easily do you think will the entire ecosystem be able to adapt itself with electric vehicles?
So this particular paradigm shift is going to take some time, and that's the reason why it's one of the answer why the EVs are getting late and late, and why they are not. You hear so much about it, but you do not see many EVs on the road. So the complete ecosystem success is very much required in order to have a complete transition. So when you are talking about this EV ecosystems, right, there has to be equal customer experience. That is being the first requirement. Replacement and repair and guarantee and warranty of the components. That is the second thing which we need to consider over here as a fundamental ecosystem component. And the third is about the human resource, or the awareness in people about new technology. So these three factors together is going to include everything, right? So we need to get right type of material, we need to get right type of charging infrastructure, along with people who are aware of this new technology.
Okay, so obviously you mean to say that someone who knows a regular electric motor that runs a water pump or a compressor is not going to be able to take a look at EV and say that, okay, this is what is wrong with your car, right?
Obviously not, Srinath. So let's say you have a working knowledge of one of the motor drive, all right? It's not going to be a similar application here, and that's what where people need to adapt to the change in automotive sector. So probably you have a knowledge and information about motors. Those fundamentals or the principles remain same, but you need to develop an insight which is holistic to automotive application and which is going to be kind of interdisciplinary in nature. So it's not only that you need to know about motor and it's going to run at fixed RPM. It's all about understanding how is going to be the user operating conditions, environmental conditions, and how much is the expectation of guarantee and warranty periods, and so many other factors.
All right. Thank you so much, Vatsal. It was a great conversation. I certainly did learn a lot about EVs, and I hope you guys also did. And the next time you decide to buy a car, I'm sure you'll know what to look for. Until then, stay tuned to SkillLink.